Parker Brothers is an American toy and game manufacturer and brand. Since 1883, the company has published more than 1,800 games. Among their best-known products are Monopoly, Cluedo, Sorry, Risk, Trivial Pursuit, Ouija, Aggravation, Bop It and Probe. Parker Brothers is currently a subsidiary of the multinational entertainment company Hasbro. History: Parker Brothers was founded by George S. Parker. Parker's philosophy deviated from the prevalent theme of board game design. He believed that games should be played for enjoyment and did not need to emphasize morals and values. He created his first game, called Banking, in 1883 when he was 16. Banking is a game in which players borrowed money from the bank and tried to generate wealth by guessing how well they could do. The game included 160 cards which foretold their failures or successes. The game was so popular among family and friends that his brother, Charles Parker, urged him to publish it. George approached two Boston publishers with the idea, but was unsuccessful. Not discouraged, he spent $40 to publish 500 sets of Banking. He eventually sold all but 12 copies, making a profit of $100. Parker founded his game company, initially called the George S. Parker Company, in his hometown of Salem, Massachusetts in 1883. When George's brother Charles joined the business in 1888, the company's name was changed to its more familiar form. In 1898, a third brother, Edward H. Parker, joined the company. For many years, George designed most of the games himself, and wrote all the rules. Many games were based on important events of the day. Klondike was based on the Alaskan Gold Rush, and War in Cuba was based on the impending Spanish-American War. The game industry was growing, and the company was becoming very profitable. In 1906, Parker Brothers published the game Rook, their most successful card game to this day, and it quickly became the best-selling game in the country. During the Great Depression, a time when many companies went out of business, Parker Brothers released a new board game called Monopoly. Although the company had originally rejected the game in 1934, they decided to publish it the next year. It was an instant success, and the company had difficulty keeping up with demand. The company continued to grow throughout the next several decades, producing such lasting games as Clue, Risk, and Sorry. Parker Brothers marketed its first puzzle in 1887. The most highly sought-of Parker puzzles are the wooden Parker Pastimes. Parker also produced children's puzzles, as well as the Climax, Jig-a-Jig, Jigwood, and Paramount lines. According to Jigsaw Puzzles, an illustrated history and price guide, by Andy Williams, Parker Brothers closed the pastime line in the 1950s, and their die-cut puzzles were phased out in the late 1970s. Even after George Parker's death, the company remained family-owned until 1968, when General Mills purchased the company. After this, Parker Brothers produced the first Nerf ball, which became another major national hit. In the UK during the 1970s, Parker Brothers was the games division of Palitoy, and produced a variety of releases such as Escape from Colditz. The company began to produce electronic versions of their popular board games in the late 1970s and early 1980s. They also produced video games for various systems during the early 1980s, with home ports of many popular arcade games like Sega's Frogger and Gottlieb's Q**Bert. At this time, the company ventured into the toy market with the electronic action figure, Rom the Space Knight, in 1977. Although the toy proved a failure, the licensed comic book published by Marvel Comics ran for years after the toy was discontinued. In early 1983, Parker Brothers spent $15 million establishing a book publishing branch. Their first titles featured the American Greetings franchises, Care Bears and Strawberry Shortcake. The branch published 12 titles by February 1984. Sales of these books totaled 3.5 million units. Parker Brothers also operated a record label around the same time. One of its releases, based on Colco's Cabbage Patch Kids and involving Tom and Stephen Chapin, was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America in July 1984. In 1985, General Mills merged the company with their subsidiary Kenner. This new company, Kenner Parker Toys Inc., was acquired by Tonka in 1987. Tonka, including Parker Brothers, was bought by Hasbro in 1991.